pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I see some students out there. I'm assuming the
Nice
one
job,
government
Jim.
So we just, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
I can stand up.
Sure.
I'm Gretchen Becker.
Thank you.
I'm Mike Halstead.
I'm Ravi Switek. I'm David Wright.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Knuski. He has some important student recognition. You're up.
Okay, which one would you like first?
Did you want to do drama?
Yeah.
Drama club? Sure.
Very quick introduction. Alyssa Navilio is our drama club advisor. She is a middle school science teacher. I had the pleasure of working with her for 3 years now, and it's the second year now.
Yep.
It's your second year that you've had the pleasure of working with the drama club.
Yes.
And she's got a few of her students with.
Hello.
So I'm Alyssa Navilio. I'm a science teacher in the middle school here at Walton, but I've had the honor and privilege to be also the drama club advisor since fall 2016. And I brought with me Kristen Vitek, who's our president of the club, and Elena Tweedy, who's our treasurer of the club. And we just wanted to come talk to you all today about our progress that we made with the drama club and about our spring productions this year.
So Drama Club first took off in fall of 2016. Before that, Drama Club wasn't really solid. So we had the pleasure of having Miss Navilio come in and really kind of pick it up off the ground, and we're so thankful for her. In fall of 2016, we did a production called Remembering Stuff. It was a comedic drama, and there was 16 students involved. It kind of built the foundation for what Drama Club is now, and it built the foundation for the collaboration and teamwork that cast members really create with each other.
So then we decided to do a second show in the spring, and I decided to join for the spring production. And we actually broadened the spectrum for drama club, and we let 8th graders from the middle school we let them audition, and they were in the show with us. And so that was really amazing. We were able to mentor them and teach them what we knew, and we got to learn stuff too, because they know stuff. They aren't oblivious. So the production we did was what happened after Once Upon a Time, and it was a really cool story. It was about fairy tales. So all your normal fairy tales, what happened after that, after the story stopped. We were able to perform the whole performance for the elementary students during one of the school days, and they really loved it.
Yeah.
They laughed the entire time.
And we had 24 students involved in that cast with the 8th graders.
Fall of this year, this was one of my favorites. Register here was a comedic murder mystery. And as you can see, we had a lot of student involvement in this production, 27 students involved. That's almost, double our first?
Around. A little less, yeah.
Register here was a little more of an elevated production. Before that, we had done productions where it was just you're in one scene and that's what you have to memorize. For Register here, you really had to elevate your acting and collaboration with cast members because you were on stage for almost the entire performance and all the way throughout. So learning to interact and how to interact on stage was major and critical for this production. This production also included a lot of stage movement and props, so it taught students how to multitask. One of our props was a dead body, so we had to actually drag one student around the stage the entire time. So that was an interesting aspect of that production.
One of our props that was very necessary for one scene, sorry to interrupt you, was on stage when we needed it off stage. And so we had to have somebody on stage take like a little coat or something and just nonchalantly walk over and pick it up. And it was really impressive because it was a freshman and she went with it. She
The
really
show
got
must
it.
go on.
Yeah.
We did get the prop for when it was needed, so that
Yeah.
was good.
So this spring, we're going to be performing 3 separate little shows. The Day Aliens Attacked Fairfield is a production strictly for middle school that myself and Christian included have decided to direct with a couple other cast members from the high school productions. Miss Novilio helps out all the time, but it's mostly for us to get the experience and for them to really understand that like it's not just an adult talking to them and saying you should do this. It's coming from us. So we've been there, we know. So it's just a better learning experience.
And it's important to get these students involved in the arts at a young age so they can continue with it without the fear of only doing a sport later on in high school.
The second production is Tracks, and Tracks is a fairly small production. It only has 10 students in it, and the show it has a really elevated plot to it. It's very mature, so it really makes us think about how we should act, and we really have to challenge ourselves in order to portray it good. I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
I know. It's good. You guys,
You guys
should
gotta come and
see
watch
it. She was stepping on, trying not to step on any
Yeah.
toes. She was like,
You'll stay out of that. The third production is The Lottery, and I know a lot of people have read it. It was a popular book to read in school.
Short story by Shirley Jackson.
Yes.
Has anyone read it? Yeah.
Yeah. 27 students are involved in that, and this production, there are certain lines, if you've read it, you know that certain people say things and they have to be portrayed right, or else the ending doesn't make sense. So those characters have to learn how to say those things, and they just have to learn how to act with each other and portray the story well.
Because if it's portrayed one way, it's not going to give the same result and ending that it's supposed to convey. So the acting for The Lottery is very crucial because it builds up an immense and like intense storyline. So if it's not executed correctly, you'll be like, what just happened? So Drama Club has really helped me as a student. Since I've become president, I've taken on a lot of responsibility, and it's helped me so much. Within Drama Club, students learn how to properly project their voice to establish points they're trying to convey. This helps a lot with public speaking, as I'm here doing to you guys. It also helps set deadlines for goals that students need to achieve, which leaves them feeling with a sense of accomplishment. This also kind of translates to schoolwork, so you know you need to get this in on time, you know you have to have these lines memorized by this date. Another contribution is that the collaboration in Drama Club provides students with the ability to work easily with others while trying to achieve a common goal. And responsibility shines through Drama Club through set deadlines and responding to criticism, which comes with a sense of maturity. So at the end of each rehearsal, Ms. Novilio obviously watches the production that we're rehearsing that day, and she will give each student a set of critiques that they need to improve on next time,
Or what they did good.
or what they did good.
It's not always
never
bad.
negative. Critiquing is not just negative, it can be positive.
Yes.
And it takes a sense of maturity for these students to be able to take that with a grain of salt, or even if it's good, you know, and apply it to their work. Drama Club also contributes and opens new doors and opportunities that students wouldn't otherwise have. In the fall, I had the opportunity to go down to the local radio station and kind of do an interview over the radio. So that was pretty cool. Our spring show dates are June 14th, which is Thursday, will be a middle school performance only. June 15th will be middle school and high school performance. And June 16th will be just the high school performance. Since the performances vary in content, we wanted to make sure that when people are coming, they wouldn't have to leave and like interrupt the transition from shows. So we're offering 3 dates so that for the middle school, it's more family oriented. Middle school and high school, it's for everyone to come and see if they want to see middle school and high school. And then we have just the high school for more mature audiences. And they're all at 7 p.m. So I invite you all to come and see, and I thank you for allowing us to speak.
Well, thank you. I heard your radio announcement, and you did very well.
Thank you so much.
And I'm glad the drama club is growing.
It definitely is. I'm so proud. We couldn't do it without Miss Noviola. She puts in hours and hours and such hard work, and I couldn't thank her enough.
But they've also put in a lot of time too. So if it wasn't for the students wanting to be so involved, like they came to me last fall saying that they want to do a spring production, and I was a musical and drama student, and I know how much work it does to do a drama and then a musical after, which is a lot, but a lot of them do that. And so I'm like, are you sure you guys are going to have the energy at the end of the year to pull out a spring production? They're like, yes. And
yeah, Walton ends up performing 3 times a year. We have a fall production that drama club puts on, the musical that the musical department puts on, and then a spring production that drama club also puts on.
Yeah, this year we had I think we had a week break.
Yeah.
And then it was auditions for the spring. Like, they all were excited. They all wanted to know when they were. So they're really active actors and actresses here. So very proud.
Wonderful.
Good job.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay.
Hard to believe we're back here this time again this year for our recognition of our salutatorian and our valedictorian for the class of 2018. I'm going to start with our salutatorian, Mr. Nick Kelmer, is our salutatorian for the class of 2018. I'm just going to mention a few of his extracurriculars and outside school activities. I'm going to let him talk a little bit about his coursework and the direction it's going to take him in. Nick has been on varsity track for 4 years, varsity soccer. He's been a MAC Scholar athlete in 2014, 16, and 17. He's on the National Honor Society for the past 2 years, and he's also in the ski club. Outside of school, Nick's involved in the Booster Club for indoor soccer, takes part in church activities. He's been a Boy Scout for 12 years and is finishing up his Eagle Scout project. And he's worked the last 2 summers right here in our very own Walton schools. So congratulations to Nick. I'm going to let you come up and speak about yourself.
So I'm going to go to college for aerospace engineering. It's going to be 3 years in Oneonta. It's going to be 2 years in Clarkson. I'm going to transfer over there. It's basically physics for the first 3 years, along with some engineering prep. And then I'm going to have astronomy for a minor. And for Clarkson, it's going to be straight aerospace engineering to get done all the bachelor's in physics and aerospace. And after that, I'm going to get probably a job with either Air Force or with NASA, hopefully. And in between that, I'll probably work here at the school another couple summers, maybe, pay more. So the classes I've done, for science, usually I like to do sciences a lot. I like English or social studies. So even this year, I've just done like straight science classes. Mr. Rose and Mr. Wagner, like my favorite teachers. So I've done like physics, astronomy, I've done AP Bio, just a lot of work. And I've done those. Those really like helped me look forward to like doing aerospace because I love physics and I took it. Those are my favorite things to do. Along with Aries, trig, and this heritage geometry. That was a lot of fun to do. I enjoyed that stuff. It was a little hard, but I flew through the classes. And
Did something trigger you to go into that, or someone to choose that?
my brother, he was on NASA when he was in high school. I always think I was wondering what NASA was. I didn't really know much about it. So I kind of looked into that. I watched like space shows on TV sometimes. I'm like amazed by like all like everything space. So I was hoping to get into NASA, aerospace, or Air Force, and just kind of do stuff along those lines.
Very good.
Nick, what do you have with you? Who's with you?
My parents are my mom and dad. Tim and Wendy Kilmer.
That's why he's here.
Well, you did a good job.
Congratulations.
Try.
Well done.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Very nice.
All right, our valedictorian for 2018 is Liliana Del Basso. Lily takes part as the vice president of our senior class. She's a member of student council, president of the yearbook, and if you see her in the school, when you do come here, you'll see her undoubtedly with a camera, walking around or down in the main office, planning, putting stuff together, working with Ms. Webler and Ms. LaPar. She's doing an outstanding job. She is taking a lot of the same challenging, difficult courses that Nick has been taking. I'll let her talk about that. Outside of school, she's been involved with dance for 10 years. She works at the ABC's Center for Performing Arts in Sydney. One of the highlights that she told me about in her email with her career in dance is with the Disney's World's Magic Kingdom Parade on stage at Lincoln Center. So that's a pretty big deal and very impressive. But I'm going to let Lily tell you more about herself.
Hi, I'm Lily. Like Mr. Knudski said, I've been taking a lot of challenging courses such as AP Bio, regular biology, chemistry, college chemistry, physics, forensics. Yeah, I think that's the science ones. Those are my favorites as well. Also, any math courses I can take. I try to stay away from English and social studies. Also, I did take AP Literature, actually, with Mr. LaPar, because he's amazing, and I knew that he'd help me get through it, but it's definitely not my strong suit. Yeah, Mrs. Rosa and Mr. Wagner definitely helped me to kind of excel academically to the point that I have today, because, well, they pushed me so hard, just since they always told me that they thought I was just so smart. Actually, Miss Rose always said that I was the smartest person she knew, and even though I don't believe her at all, because she's been teaching here forever, but it was kind of a case of not being able to disappoint her. You know, I felt like I had to really push myself. Same with Mr. Wagner and Mr. LaPar and Miss Mary. You know, I feel like I have a standard that I'm held to, and that helps a lot with keeping my grades up. With that love for science and mathematics, I'm going to Binghamton University. I'm going to major in chemistry, but I'm just a step away from biological chemistry because I'm in love with both, and I can't decide. I might head to engineering. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to do my first year and kind of see where I end up. Yeah, that's the plan.
Very nice. And who did you bring with you?
I brought my mother and my two grandparents and my other grandmother and my sister.
Nice. Well, what Liliana and Nicholas, what you have accomplished is a testament to your hard work, dedication, and motivation to succeed. And you should truly be proud of yourselves. And seeing your family here, I think, you know, what they have instilled in you and the support that they have provided to you is truly, you know, a contributing factor as well. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Very deserving.
Very nice.
To put things in context for you, I think I mentioned this last year with our previous recipients. They're coming out of a class this year that we're on track to have 23 honors graduates. So we're talking about a lot of competition. They've managed to, get number 1 and number 2 spots in the class with that group of kids. And they didn't take it easy their senior year. They've been taking very challenging college level courses. So some kids in some districts might sit back and kind of ride the wave the last semester or so, and they have not done that. They've continued to challenge themselves. So we're very proud of them.
Congratulations.
Very nice.
Now, we are going to go into a public hearing, so I understand that if you don't want to stay, we won't make you stay.
You're more than welcome, that's fine.
Just math, no science.
Unfortunately for the government class,
Hey, dang. Not touch of drama. Settle in.
I should just go ahead and tell them I was the one who did the talk.
oh, that's right.
Well,
It's like they do already.
Okay, so we need a motion to recess for our regular meeting. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, and we will open our public hearing and welcome We're so glad you can make it. I will turn this over to you and Tim.
So I'm going to just, I want to thank the board for their hard work for putting the budget together. I'm pleased that we're maintaining our programs and adding a few extra programs, so I appreciate your hard work in this. Tim's going to go ahead and just do a summary of the presentation that we did in March, and if anyone in the audience or here has any questions, go ahead. So,
Thank you. Okay. I am doing a little something different here. I'm not going to stand here. I'm going to go over there. I'm not a big fan of talking to the rest of the crowd's back. So sorry about guys, but you have swivel chairs, so I'm going to move over here. All right.
Now you got me put my back to everybody else.
Well, just don't make faces at me, otherwise I'm just confused. So what we're going to do today is just kind of go over the summary parts of the budget. Out here, there will be two different handouts. Just want to make sure people have the same ones. Did you guys get these too? I got mine.
No.
You want them, guys? Where's presentation is far more exciting with them. You need more, or you got enough?
We're
You're fine?
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
You sure you shouldn't have them deliver it, Tim?
It's just part of the service we provide here. Okay. So, I'm going to also work my way through a PowerPoint presentation, which I typically do not do. So, I'm also, while I am not necessarily, I'm more a business person, not really big on the drama piece. So, I don't have any build-up. We're just going to jump right into where the end is and where the result is. So we're looking at an estimated budget increase of 1.63% and an estimated tax levy increase of 1.56. The 1.56 is the tax cap limit as it was calculated the way the state calculates it. Thinking to myself, you have to look at the audience and make sure. I'm looking at the floor in the back going, oh my God, is he going to talk forever? It's just going to feel like that, guys. What we're going to do is we're going to also go through things in the expense category. So we're going to talk about it in terms of personal services, which would be the salaries, equipment, capital outlay, contractual debt, and then we'll talk about personal or employee benefits, which would be the fringe benefits and things like that, okay? So as we get into the salaries, on our line items, I am not going to read the numbers to you. You guys can do that yourselves. But no real surprises in terms of pretty much everything going through. There's about a 3% increase overall on the different line items. The only one where there is a somewhat significant change would be on the non-instructional line, the line marked 16. And that would be because the previous business manager salary came out of the 16 codes, and because I am a contracted employee, I don't have a salary line, so that reduces that line. But you'll see that reflected on the contractual services later on. How's that for foreshadowing, right? Okay. Look, I'm pushing the button. It's not going. Oh, wow.
It's too late to increase the technology line.
It's a good ploy.
Might just
Very good ploy, though.
Right.
The possibility is just battery, so we'll leave it at that.
Looks like I got this.
How was it? So we're on to the equipment. All right, the equipment line items. The only big change with regards to the equipment is that we put in bus purchase, which is actually the money to replace a Suburban that's in need of being replaced. So that's what the 45,000 plus is for in that line item. The state-aided computer hardware, it stays at the 18,000. That's roughly the amount of money that we typically get back. You'll hear me reference a couple of these, which would be the instructional materials or categorical aids. You have to spend up to that dollar amount in order to get that back the following year. So that's why that dollar amount is there. Okay. Oh, there we go. Are you doing that? Did you do that at the same time? can't tell. All right, so on the contractual. So contractual is the largest item. It's a little over, larger than salaries, but it's a little over $5 million in total, but it has a lot of different things mixed into it. Okay? For the contractual services, you'll notice there's a pretty significant increase, about $340,000 roughly, for the contractual lines. That encompasses, those increases are typically because of transportation. We have contracted transportation where we're transporting students off campus or to alternative sites. And that's about $180,000. We also have a lease in there for a new bus, which is an additional $58,000. And then we have about foreshadowing wise, told you about salary and benefits for half of myself at about $70,000 that was paid to Downsville. So that encompasses about 308 of the 350 roughly of the increase on that line item. Supplies and materials. Supplies and materials went down. Supplies and materials didn't go down. I basically based it on historical and what we have spent over time over the last several years. The other difference is that I've dropped things down into library materials and software. So about $20,000 moved into there. That again, there are two categorical aids in there, and that's the instructional materials aid and then software aid, both of which are categoricals we have to spend up to that amount. So I moved money into those particular account codes so that it's already there. We don't necessarily have to move money to do it. Okay. Next on the line is tuition. Tuition so far is holding pretty steady. Tuition would be for placements outside of the district, for our students that are being placed in different locations outside the district. You'll see it if you look at the detail piece. There was a change. It moved from public line item to a private line item. It does matter in terms of my reporting. It probably doesn't matter in terms of many other people, but it does in terms of my reporting. There's a different account code for that. So that's typically they're private placements, not public placements. Okay. So you might notice that if you look through. Textbooks. Textbooks, again, the same thing. It's a categorical aid. We have to spend up to a certain dollar amount. So we brought that line item up to, it's actually a little bit above the dollar amount. We're roughly going to get about $59,000 to $60,000 in textbook aid next year. So we have to spend roughly that amount of money. BOE services. BOCES typically is a big chunk of our budget for a variety of different things. The one that seems to have been driving it a little bit more this year had to do with OCED services. For us, we seem to be sending more students to OCED services than we have in the past. BOCES takes a 3-year average of numbers of students. The third year out was, I think, 52 students, and then the year after that it was 60, and it's been around 60 since then. That 52 drops off, and so because we use the 3-year average now, we've all of a sudden seen a jump. The other thing is that BOCES has seen a decline in the number of students overall participating in their OCED services, and because of that, there's less students to spread that cost over, so that's why it typically costs a little bit more than it has in the past. Yes, sir.
Do you have a mic on that little podium there?
No.
I'm just thinking for the people who might, I know that they don't have this presentation at home, but you moved it.
It's true, because when somebody's standing at the podium,
Yeah.
it's hard to hear on the things.
Sorry, you don't have to start over. Maybe
Now you
just
gotta
pick
start
up.
all over and get caught up. That's really mean to those guys back there, making me start all over again.
Government class isn't easy.
Government is not easy, right? Okay. So I'm not going to torture them with the explanation of the OCED services again. So we'll continue through on to debt service. Debt service, all right? Debt service, you'll wait. You're not going to notice unless I move across. There was a decrease in debt service from previous year to last year. We had a bus ban that was about $125,000 that we finished the last payment on. So we don't have that any longer in there. So that's where the debt service. We don't have any other debt scheduled to retire for a couple of years. And that's a relatively small one compared to some of the others. So we still have, should be pretty consistent over the next couple of years. All right. employee benefits. Employee benefits, the ERS and TRS, which would be the retirement system, tweaked them a little bit to be a little more accurate, but not a big net change between the two. It's just a matter of moving some from one place to the other, but they're still pretty level in terms of what our costs are expected to be. When we look down the rest, everything else seems to be pretty much the same until we get down to the medical, health, and dental, and there is a significant decrease. The decrease is not related to that we had a sudden decrease in the cost of our health insurance. The decrease is based on the fact that we had larger amount budgeted than we've actually experienced over the last couple of years. So in terms of going through the budget, reduced some of the money that was in there that was additional money. Okay, so, and for somebody like myself, it makes me a little bit nervous, the closer you get to actual, but, we have to live with that. All right. So that gets us through employee benefits. Now we're going to go from there into the revenue side of things. Revenue, we've already talked about the increase in the levy. Now we're going to talk on the local revenue and our state aid. As I'm going through, we only had a 2.5% increase on paper between what we received in the current year and what we'll be receiving next year. But here it actually is a 3.2%. Part of that is because for whatever reason last year during budgeting, there's $117,847 that is high tax aid, but that's what they listed as on the printouts, but it's still part of the general aid. It's not a separate payment. It's just mixed together. They just have a different name for it. So for whatever reason last year it had been pulled out and was put into a different category. So to stay consistent where I'm measuring, comparing the two, that's why there's that big difference as well. It dropped down, but it's not really a huge decrease. It's kind of mixing between the two. It's an accounting thing. We have issues trying to categorize things in the right places, so that's why that is. But I also wanted to compare apples to apples in case you were looking at what we had last year compared to this year. All right. There was also some debt service funds that were there that we used and applied towards the debt service payment in the current year, but those funds will be exhausted and we won't have access to those funds next year. So in fact, that's a little bit of a decrease in revenue for that particular piece. All right. Again, the overall budget is looked at as $20,864,607. All right. And yes, I included a cool little emoji thing for this one. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts or anything that they would like to share or ask?
The one sheet that was on the website under line item appropriations is what it was called.
Yep.
And under transfer, it shows like a $259,000 increase.
Right.
Can you just explain that? I know you did briefly, but just a little bit, because that looks huge to somebody from the outside looking at it.
So that's going to be the suburban, which was about 45,000, because that is categorized under the transportation. The other big piece for that is the increase in contractual transportation. So the use of contracted providers to take some of our students to off-site locations. The overall cost next year is not expected to increase. However, there wasn't an adequate amount budgeted in that line item in the 17-18 year. So that's, while the expense isn't necessarily going up a lot from one year to the next, there is a budgetary change. Okay.
Thank you. Sure. It just looks startling when you don't know the background to it.
Yep.
Okay. And I guess you don't have a question again?
You might as well go ahead. They're not going to.
One of the things that kind of you hear out in the public is they just wonder what the plans are for maintenance. Like, what's kind of budgeted and what do you plan to do with that money? What kind of...
From a budgetary standpoint, it's a little harder for me to answer. I actually could defer to these guys, but I know one of the things that we have had conversations about, obviously, is that we have to deal with
the facilities needing to be repaired and things needing to be taken care of, there is a facilities committee, and they'll probably be becoming a little bit more active, but, I'll defer to you guys to answer that more directly.
The facilities meeting is tentatively scheduled for this month. So they'll be able to go through that. And is it June?
June.
Oh, I'm sorry. it's
June 19th.
19.
Policies this month?
Policies this month.
Okay, sorry. So yes, so in June, they'll be able to go through that.
Okay, thank you. And the only other real question I heard from community members, since I'm like the only one here, is they just, several people asked me if I would ask for clarification on the nursing staffing, exactly what kind of staffing you're planning on having next year. What's budgeted, or what are you, for the nurse's office?
So
Yeah, go
it's
ahead.
we have a RN at the high school, middle school with an LPN, and RN at the elementary school.
Okay. And now
Stay status quo.
Okay, all right. That really was all the questions I had or heard. Thank you, because this has been really a lot clearer, I think, to people.
Well, I'm glad.
We appreciate it, really do. Thank you.
His issue with the categories is a good thing.
It is, I think so. And I think
appreciate
that's
that.
why maybe there weren't so many questions about it, was just clearer, so then, it's easier to understand.
Well, I'm glad you
We
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it, yeah, thank you.
You bet.
Do the students have any questions? None?
Zach, since you came in late, you got to ask me a question. Huh? How about a simple one, like 1 + 1 is?
Your son's doing good at tracking.
He's doing good. That's not a question.
Lay off.
On top of which, you're just telling me that I should be there, and you just.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, and I made an error. I skipped right over to Tim's presentation. I need to go back to the annual meeting notice, and I would recommend that we dispense the reading of the annual meeting notice. If I have a motion.
I'll make it.
Second?
I'll second
Okay.
Kevin.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Just the budget
Sure.
newsletters will be out. It should be here in the next couple of days. We just put everything on the webpage for everyone, and I think all the board members have it.
And these will get mailed to
Yep,
everyone?
this should be
through the
mailed out
thing? Okay.
tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. All right, so we actually, we had our public comment. We need a motion to return to, or close the public comment session and, or public hearing, and return to our regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we are back in regular session. Do you need? Okay. Thank you. All right, so we have the approval of the minutes from our April 10th budget presentation and board workshop. Do I have a motion to approve them?
Move it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And then we have the approval of the minutes from our May 1st, no, wait, April 17th regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Were there any questions on the CSE, CPSE? If not, do I have a motion to approve them as submitted?
I'll move it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, we are up to 4 discussion items. We're bringing back the fees and insurance requirements. Did you, for the use of facilities, did you hear anything?
I haven't
back?
heard anything back yet. I'm hoping by the end of this week, so I can report back out.
Okay, and was there any questions that anybody had that we needed additional information? Any suggestions?
We're just waiting to hear back on waivers
From
and
the
the fee
international,
schedule,
right?
right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
We can
have a discussion on it then.
Right, I think once you get the waivers cleared up, so we know where we're standing liability-wise, then we can discuss the, custodial-wise, that type of things, and just see where the,
Okay,
we
so
may be in a financial position to do something different there then.
our next meeting is,
There's 2 workshops.
oh, that's right.
scheduled, But the next meeting is June 19th.
Okay, so do we want to bring this up to one of our workshops if we have the insurance information?
Certainly.
Okay, so what is our first workshop for you? I don't have a.
There's one, I think, May 22nd off the top of my head, and one in early June.
Tuesday, May 22nd. Okay, so we'll shoot for that one. Okay. All right. Everyone should have had in their folder a board meeting observation sheet. If you would like to complete that and return that, I guess we can bring that back to our June regular board meeting. And does anybody else have anything that they want to discuss? No? New business, we have accepting donations. This is wonderful. We have a donation from the Townsend School PTA, and this is for 2 permanent 4 square quartz and 2 metal plastic tables to go along with that. And I believe that is a donation of approximately $8,100. Wow, that's amazing. Where is this going, like in relations to the courts that?
We're looking now to see where the two picnic tables are metal picnic tables. They're square with 4 seats, and we're going to put those probably in an area where there's some shade. And the kids are going to, once we get them and make sure that they, like Brett can put them together, we're going to take them apart, and Lori Couture is going to have the kids splatter paint them, so they're going to be all nice and colorful. And the 4 square courts, we're going to try to find the best area to put those. Each one's 16 foot by 16 foot, so the kids can play that game, the 4 square game.
Right.
And they'll be surrounded by the plastic, the little edging, and then the wood chips, so they can mow around them. But so we're going to put those. We're looking at a couple of options now for the best place in terms of traffic and being able to watch them and not impede some of the other play areas.
All right.
But we'll try to put the picnic table sort of in a more toward the fence where there's a shaded area. That was our first idea.
And the PTA, are they still looking for free labor?
Yeah, I mean, well, they're paying, part of this is installation in terms of concrete and stuff like that. But yeah, we're working to put together some people who can come out and help.
Okay, so if anybody's willing to donate some time, government class, you can contact Mr. Snyder.
As soon as we have some good weather, we'll try to find it out.
That's wonderful. So do we have a motion to accept?
Move it.
Second. Second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. We are up to 4B. We have a resignation. Sherry Price. Do we have a motion to accept? And that's due to retirement as of June 30th.
Move it.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. And then we have an appointment for a substitute teacher aide, and this will be effective May 2nd, and that will be for Elizabeth Core.
I'll move it.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and then we're up to,
On that last one, they've got her down for an aide and a monitor.
and, okay.
Teacher aide school
Teacher
monitor.
aide school monitor.
Substitute.
All right, and we are up to old business. This is in October, at our October meeting, we had brought this up, this pilot, and it was changed and we had to put it back to the county, because this is the county's established this, or I should say initiated this. So this had been revised and we are bringing it back. basically what this is that if anyone sets up a solar project, they, the project are exempt from property taxes for a period of 15 years. So in order to avoid that and share the cost after the town establishes the assessed value, I believe the prorated amount would be 50% town, 25% county, and 25% school district. So in order to do that, we need to join in with this pilot program. So if there's no questions, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. And are we skipping a report for you? Do you have any?
No, I don't.
We didn't have it on
Okay.
The only thing that I have,
Nothing to
and I
report.
sent an email about the Assistant Commissioner of Education will be coming May 14th. She'll be touring the district. We'll be going over curriculum or technology, updating on facilities. Joan Eber's her name. She's a great person. Great for New York State education. I've had many conversations with her, so finally got her to come down to a rural district. She was handpicked by our commissioner. She's from, actually she was in education in Las Vegas, Nevada. So I'm pretty excited about having her come down here. She deals a lot with suburban and urban schools, so it's going to give her a real good opportunity to see a rural district and how we operate, some of our struggles and things like that. So once I get the itinerary and things, I'll make sure I get it out to you. So we're pretty excited about that. It's a good opportunity for all of us.
Yeah, I'd like to attend and meet her. I think that's pretty exciting.
I'd like to go as well.
Okay. All right.
That's all that I have.
All right. Do we have a need for executive session?
We do.
Okay.
Employment of a particular person.
Okay. Employment of a particular person? Okay. Do we have a motion into executive session?
Move it.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?